what is going to be the law enforcement agency that enforces this law? Like, let's say we decide we're going to arrest these people, anyone involved in any way, shape, or form. What agency is going to enforce that?
I don't know if we have one. It's willing to do the job. We're watching the FBI, we're watching the DOJ, we're watching the Pam Bondi herself, who should be the spearhead for this stuff. Like she put herself in the position to be the spearhead, or at least she fucking accepted that position. Same thing with Bongino and same thing with Cash. And now Bongino's out and Cash is fucking turned tail. Dude, take a knee, bro. Fucking smearing off ice it. Get it in ya before you remember the Epstein files. Go ahead. You got a lot to drink up, sailor. You got a lot of open water to cover.
On the day Trump was elected president, Ivanka Trump and Jared were at the gravesite of Rabbi Shursim, who was the most powerful rabbi in the Chabad network. Jared didn't disclose his stake in the cadre because of its ties to the Russian state. The source believed this was the real Russian collusion story. Kushner has moved a lot of Russian investment money around. The FBI should investigate Kushner's family charities to find evidence of corruption and money laundering. Chabad. It's like when they busted Capone for the taxes, right? All the terrible shit he did. He gets life for taxes. Yep, Hopefully that happens to some of these fucking scumbags. Like, I don't care if we give them life because we found out they jaywalked one time. I don't care. Lock them up, throw away the fucking key. Fuck all these people. I've said it 100 times.
Especially if we got the evidence that it's way more than jaywalking. You know?
Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families while he was a law professor at Harvard. For example, Josh Kushner and Jared Kushner were both his students. Dershowitz.
I think Epstein has some questions about how Al Seckel met his fate going off a cliff on a scooter. Had a very similar end to Mr. Segway.
Obama talking about an alien. There's Donald Trump saying that he gave away classified information, even though I don't know if y'all got this vibe, but I got the vibe that he was like, it was like some joke. You know, he was making a joke about it being classified. So then I started thinking, like, I wonder if like Obama was helping him out. Cause you know, these guys are friends in real life, right? Like it's all a joke. Like all these people hang out. Obama, Trump, Clinton, all the Republicans that like it's all bullshit. So it got me thinking, like maybe Obama talking about the alien thing really did change the conversation from Epstein or was a really valiant attempt to change the conversation from Epstein. More strange messages and voicemails, and now we have a whistleblower that came out saying that they made a complaint about President Trump sexually assaulting her when she was a minor, and that entire complaint, like everything to do with that complaint, was redacted. We need to not memory hold this. We need to keep banging the drum on this. Pam Bondi, by direction of President Trump, told us to flag anything with his name on it, and that's what they did. So far, welcome to the show, everyone. Flak Magnet, glad he's here. Glad you made it.
Good evening. I claimed on a couple episodes ago to be some kind of oracle that has psychic abilities, which I do not have. I don't have them now. The gig is up.
Oh, dude, they jammed you.
The gig and the jig is up. Both of them are up. I can't dance anymore with my clairvoyance. I ruined it.
They DEW'd you. Fashions and Launch wants to know.
Bush. That's what I actually call him. I think the unknown one that we're not really discussing now is the Epstein angle, right? Like, are they willing to say now anything's fucking alien just to move some headlines past another couple of important topics?
Where she says in her Epstein deposition today, someone asked her about UFOs and Pizzagate.
Oh, that was John Podesta.
Yeah,
I remote viewed it because that's all you're allowed to do.
I see. Who did you?
She can't bleach my brain, So I remote.
I heard Elizondo's doing a tour. Podesta. Is that where you started remote?
No.
The Elizondo tour.
You see, the problem is Elizondo had me tied up in his trunk, heading towards the center of the desert. So I was really able
physically
to
or mentally
lock in. Allegedly. Hypothetically. But yes, bound and in the back of a Cadillac. Very, very roomy, actually.
That's what I hear about those things. They're very roomy in the back. Neil deGrasse Tyson making fun of UFOs and UFO believers once again.
Oh, I just want to say fuck Neil. I hope we're far enough into the video I can use a swear word now. Well, yeah, just screw Neil deGrasse Tyson because he was at Ghislaine's house in 2014, well after the accusations, well after all of the shit was out, and Epstein was being investigated for like the 15th time. He was at her house with a ton of people schmoozing with her and all of her trafficking cohorts.
Yes. And, he's still getting big interviews like this. This wasn't like, this was one of the bigger network news is MSNBC. Or I don't even know if they're called that anymore, but I guess we could call it left news network, right? Because we know Fox is kind of the right news network, but we know it's all fake anyway. So at any rate, the fact that he gets a interview on a bigger show like this, and he was visiting her after the charges came. That's fucking crazy.
Well, this is
all these people should be toxic until they sort this out.
I think it's a Sci-Fi Channel. Who does Star Talk Live? If you can, we can do a Google or a whatever now to fact check my ass and see who does Star Talk Live, because they sanctioned this whole little press event and all that at Ghislaine's house, and then sponsored the ever-loving shit out of it. I think it might be the Sci-Fi Channel. I could be mistaken.
I haven't been able to listen to the whole thing yet, but yeah, wasn't there like a whole weekend with some scientists where they got together?
Well, they do it every year, or they used to do it every year until COVID, I think. But it stopped at some point. It was pretty big.
Yeah, and they discuss everything from aliens to genetics to just all kinds of crazy shit. It's really nuts. I have what my AI pulled on Star Talk. Star Talk Live events are live on stage versions of the Star Talk franchise. Science meets comedy shows drawn from the popular Star Talk podcast and media brand. The live shows have been hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson, often joined by his comic co-hosts and others. Chuck Nice, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I hate to say this, but Jason Sudeikis, good old Sudeikis boys, was in that. He was over there, along with Eugene Merman.
Bill Nye, Brian Greene. So yeah, lots of scientists involved with this character, which makes it not so shocking that this UFO stuff kind of leads to Epstein in when you start going down a lot of avenues. Okay, so we'll continue with Tyson here.
Just think about that. And until that happens, it seems to be all about who you believe and what conspiracy theory. And it feels almost like a religion at some level. Deep conspiracy thinking people.
Yeah.
The president can say what he wants, and
they'll read into it.
No, they'll just say, yeah, he's part of the conspiracy.
The feeling is if you are an alien, smart, talented enough to make it all the way over here, be embedded here,
I just don't understand how he can't grow a good
you probably have taken on human form.
We both watched the movie.
Either grow a good one or give up the ghost.
One of my important observations.
I'm with you, buddy. What's going on there?
Oh,
Yeah, I wonder if it's
from his lies.
I wonder if he has mustache plugs. Is it a thing?
Maybe, dude. Probably. I don't know. Allegedly,
Wow.
allegedly, folks.
Allegedly,
were
it's a thing.
spreading vicious rumors that are jokes. These are comedy routines.
Neil deGrasse Tyson's mustache has been remote viewed onto his upper lip by Luis Elizondo.
It's a holiday.
Hot in from the Gabriel Speaks podcast. So I was, yeah. So Tyson just finished up saying, how come the aliens always end up being evil? In the different lore. To which I say, like, I mean, I guess in Independence Day, they do. I don't know what you're talking about. Why they always end up being, I guess, because Luis Elizondo told us that people in the Pentagon told him they were demons, but that came from Luis Elizondo. Think about that. That's the only source we have for that rumor. The Collins elite and the Pentagon saying that they are demonic, that UFOs are demonic. If you trace it all down, that story all comes down to Luis Elizondo.
Well, it's kind of weird that that's not like a normal society. That would be like the cutoff point where you're like, all right, aliens, you got to go. It was cool.
You're gonna tell me we have,
but now that we know it's demonic, the aliens, you got to go.
Right.
Go. But
we have
instead,
generals.
Well, yeah, but
are
the whole
saying this to
Satanist
him.
taint in the military, with Aquino and all those.
Oh, sure,
gentlemen.
yeah, but there's nuts everywhere, man.
But I'm saying it makes sense if they are demons. Which fucking group has switched sides? They clearly are not working for our military.
Yeah, it's almost like that story of the jinn from the Middle East makes more sense than what they...
Yeah, but I guess so, because the old-timey Bible, demons are bad, yes, but they're not...
right.
Like, some are fucking more mischievous. They're not
Abrahamic, Judeo-Christian,
someone just, like, fucking ruin your day and make you lose all your loose change, like, a lot of things like that.
Yeah, so there's Epstein...
Of, the Epstein files, we need one of those now. That would actually
Epstein Zio Rothschild network. You heard about that one?
Oh yeah, dude. The Rothschilds have been talked about for a real long time. We just finally, with this last drop, had actual emails between him and that blonde lady Rothschild. But I don't know, man. They go back to all the old parties. They go back to the eyes wide shut angle. So like, they've been in the conspiracy theory realm for a very long time.
Yeah.
I actually can tie their funding back to a weird conspiracy that I found from right before World War II, where all the fucking physicists, Jewish and not, disappeared for 15 fucking years.
Is that now? Doesn't Weinstein talk about that a little bit?
I don't know. I stopped listening to him when he didn't grab his pitchfork. I was waiting for the pitchfork. He didn't grab it. Now I've turned on him. I grabbed my pitchfork on Weinstein.
What pitchfork?
Both
why
of
was he in the files? Or
No,
was he
he's
ignoring?
not in the files. I actually give him a high five for that. It's the fact that
I haven't
when
even
he
been able
found
to
out-
search him yet.
this is my thing, right? He's a complainer, right? Which good. Yeah, rather him be a complainer than a criminal. But when he claimed that he was going to be an actor and he's going to act and do the thing that everybody should be doing right now, he didn't do it. He said that he was going to go to fucking Congress and demand all sorts of secret science and shit. When he found out that Epstein was funding half these fucking scientists, he should have been in all these labs complaining that he didn't get a job and getting some sort of fucking compensation for not being a pedophile and also having the credentials to get the job. Like the fact he's not a pedophile shouldn't have barred him from that. Start fucking suing these people. Start making some grift off of being an honest guy. That's an okay grift by me. I'm just mad he hasn't grifted fucking off that or done any real complaining with action.
How sad is that? That we
Can I say
have
oy vey right now?
two
Am I allowed to say oy vey?
ex-presidents. We have two ex-presidents that should be in prison right now. Well, we have one current president and an ex-president that should be in prison right now
Yeah, dude.
for raping little girls.
So what we found out is 2 people got really investigated, right? Like 2 people. And I don't mean now because, they gave Leslie Wexner a couple questions. And, they gave fucking Ghislaine Maxwell a couple more questions. And, look, Hillary Hilldog got some questions. Everybody's getting questions. They fucking had a ton of these names and nobody got fully investigated up until recently. And there's still no consequences to hold out. The rest of the world is doing the right thing by these files where everyone else is failing in the United States.
Sort of. I mean, if Andrew did what he did, I think justice would be public embarrassment.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like
Public
it's they're at
flogging
least
or something.
making it has some sort of I don't know, a step in the right direction because I forget where she's from, but they're doing an investigation into the Rothschild right now, the banking group, and they're also doing. Poland said that anyone they find in the files that is in Poland at the moment, they're prosecuting full extent of the law. They don't give a shit, which is really cool. Poland is stepping the fuck up. I don't know. I just can't believe no one's doing the right thing.
Right. It's crazy that that's not the line in the sand, right? It's like, no, they can go further. And you'll see, like when we get to the pre-deposition speech in New York City with Hillary today, I can't remember who it is, but there's somebody that points that ridiculousness out.
At the end of the week, but it's been a week in Washington when we're talking about aliens again, and it's a topic that has captured the world's attention almost as much as Jeffrey Epstein. So while transparency is something Trump ran and won on in 2024, some members of Congress are questioning the president's timing. Congressman Thomas Massey posting on X, they've deployed the ultimate weapon of mass distraction, but the Epstein files aren't going away.
Damn. Mass distraction. Weapons of mass distraction.
Okay, all right. So there's a band called Amur, and they're good rock and roll boys. They have an album titled something very similar. So I hope they sue the shit out of this news lady and a couple dollars for themselves. We appreciate the good old hard rock and roll boys around here.
Yeah, good question, Tracy. Will other governments demand all the files so anyone from their country can be exposed, right? Like if you're in Haiti and you think that your prime minister, do they have a prime minister in Haiti? I don't know how it works, but let's say you think somebody high up in the government is involved in Epstein, but America's like, well, we might have some stuff on it, but it also has our president's name on it. So we're not going to give that to you. Who resolves that? What, fucking the UN? War?
The people, dude. The people and a crowbar. Okay?
Yeah.
That is to wrestle it out of the fucking hands of the corrupt few at the top.
Well, we know the CIA will shred
March.
shit.
I'm just going to say White March. 100 ways till Sunday, right? No violence at all there. Completely legal and 100% effective. At least to get some people out of fucking parliament. And that's the White March in Belgium. But
very different culture, my friend.
Well, yeah, those are actors, and not in the Hollywood way. Those are people who act on fucking injustice, which is pretty goddamn cool.
Right. Well, I think you have a percentage of the population that does that here too. But like I was telling my wife today, the problem is we have too many jokers. Do you remember the Batman Christopher Nolan movie with the Joker with Heath Ledger?
Well, all right. Do we have jokers that are? Because I agree, but I also think that like the jokers have been fucking poked with a poo stick until they've turned into jokers. Like to where it's like,
Either way,
okay, I'm now covered
there.
in this shit. I'm smeared in the shit. So now I'm gonna hug everybody in the room. Because that's what I felt like after being called a conspiracy theorist in 2017, saying like, hey, what's up with all these fucking laptops and emails and shit on WikiLeaks?
Right.
These, because the whole reason why they said you can't look at these or because they were from illegal channels, like obtained through illegal channels, but they were like actual documents, like actual emails from multiple parties. But because they were gotten in an ill-gotten way, it means that we shouldn't look at them and should ignore. No, I'm not the fucking law. I'm the citizen who now gets to see things that are in public domain, and I can base my judgment off of everything I do from this point on, from that shit. And I don't know, they ask you to lose all discernment because of fucking marketing dollars. Like, I'm sorry. Also, this is to Team YouTube out there. Like, if you're listening, no one cares about your marketing dollars. That's a you problem. You need to find the right advertisers to put on the right video. Stop being fucking lazy. Like, if people are complaining about the video to add, well, then maybe stop going on to, like, I'm going to give a couple shout outs to true crime channels that I love right now, right? Ewu, that's Explore With Us, true crime. Jim Can't Swim, that's another true crime. Originator, this is like 5 years ago. But these channels, they put out good detective work that police have done, like through official channels, all legal information, right? That will have a fucking Huggies ad thrown right into it while they're talking about horrific murder, disembowelment, like all those things, right? They don't care. And it clearly, it's just about the numbers and who they can shut up on certain topics. I'm tired of it being this obvious and them telling us that it's for marketing purposes. You gotta dampen your free speech. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to incite anything. I'm not trying to do anything other than relay news that's pertinent to maybe children not getting raped in the future. Like.
Right. And what's amazing is that you cannot talk about the current events and news right now without saying those few words. And those few words used to get your channel banned before. But now it's like, no, it's actually happening. So are they going to unban the channels that talked about it before? Are they going to unblock those videos to those people that just happen to figure it out quicker than some of y'all?
I'll tell you what's weird, though. About a week and a half before the Epstein files dropped, my ex account started getting real funny. Then a couple days before, I got hit with a label. It didn't tell me I crossed over any TOS boundaries, but that I did now have a label suspecting my account of being bot-like activity. For what reason, I have no idea. Nothing's been flagged. I don't even do any AI posts. I don't really fuck with AI.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I open it and there's 52 Flak posts. It's definitely not a thing.
Once in a while, maybe a little bit, dudes. I have a bit of attention deficit. I forget to post shit for a month, and then I'll be like, oh, I got 30 things I found. Time to post up. And yeah, so all right, maybe that's a red flag. All right, touche. Touche. All right, maybe.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I hadn't noticed it, but that's true. If you go on there and then just drop bombs and it's not regular activity, then yeah, dude, I'd be like, that's weird. So yeah, not that you should have to cater what you want to do to them, but that's what's gonna throw up a flag for sure. At least one of them that we know about.
Well,
but when we talk about this stuff, real quick, when we talk about this stuff, do you want to know what YouTube actually hears?
Oh, I have no idea what they actually hear.
Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond.
Yep.
So for those that couldn't hear it, that was Rihanna's "Shine Bright Like a Diamond," voiced over by Arnold. So it was a beautiful, strong Austrian accent singing "Shine Bright Like a Diamond."
I just find it funny that like I get a label put on my shit, right? And not only do I not post clickbaity things, right? I post like breaking news from like 1930, dude. Like the biggest two stories that I had that like went partially, maybe a little bit viral outside of my echo chamber, basically, was the 1950s Russian spy one. And it was because it had a ton of information about like their chemical warfare department, their biological warfare department, and then their little spy equipment, which beat the U.S.'s spy equipment fucking hands down. We had a spy that defected in 1950 that we wound up getting stuff from the 20s that was still more radical than ours. Like electric pistols that shot cyanide-laced bullets. That made no sound, completely silent.
Crazy.
Then the other one was a Smedley Butler one, which 1933 is when that story broke, folks. So, I don't know what the hell they're labeling me with. Maybe it's I need to get with the times. Tell me to fucking.
No, you just be you, buddy. Because, like they said, it's what did they say? It's a warning and they're monitoring. Is that what they said?
Well, yeah, it said basically it's confirmation of a shadow ban, right? So it told me that my reach is going to be fucking limited as well. I still have a screenshot.
For how
of
long?
what it said. Didn't say. It was also an amorphous amount of time. And
we're going to do a whole episode on that.
It wasn't even a hard strike either because I couldn't refute it. There was no way to say hey, you made a mistake because they didn't tell me what mistake I made. It was just here's a weird label we're going to give you and not give you any reason behind it.
The last video we did on Epstein on this very YouTube channel, same thing. Not even sure if you can view it at this time. So very interesting. I'm having to remove those clips. I did fight the copyright. I'm having to remove those clips and, but the stuff on Epstein's going to stay in. So I figured it's worth it. Okay. So back to UFO updates again. Thomas Massey just says they've deployed the ultimate weapon of mass distraction, but the Epstein files aren't going away, even for aliens. So Massey, who is actually has a Republican that's backed by the Trump administration running against him right now in his district, is saying that they're using this as a distraction. And I was saying at the beginning of the show, we know Obama, Trump, Clinton, they're all buddies. They're in the ex-president's gangster group, right? They pal around. By Obama just saying the word aliens on that podcast, he was trying to help Trump out. He was trying to change the subject in the mass media, gave Trump an opportunity to go, oh, Obama let out classified stuff, It's all just a fucking game. You could see it as he was talking, that it was almost a joke to him.
Oh, yeah. He was giggling because it's now technically part of the disclosure process. Now ex-presidents could pop up and say dumb shit and then have it propagandized right in front of your face.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was
or get in trouble and change
anyway.
the subject. It was 100% planned. 100% planned. Yeah.
Well, it's still just words, right? Just without the backing.
Always.
Just without the backing of the photographic evidence or anything like that. It is just words, and we could all then we got this where we're sitting and talking about it. It works.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
The reality is he's taking a hit, not just from Democrats, but also from Republicans. Promises not kept when it comes to the Epstein files. And so trying to shift over to another topic that I'm sure they had in their back pocket all along, which is UFOs and aliens. I support him releasing files on UFOs and aliens and what we have. I think the American people deserve to know what's going on. But I think the American people also deserve to know what's in the 2.5 million files that he hasn't released when it comes to Epstein.
Do you worry this politicizes national security for potential spectacle?
Somewhat. I think the former President Obama was just saying that he thinks that the probability of aliens existing is high. I don't think he was saying.
He was just trying to help out President Trump out of a jam. Let's be real here. Tracy only managed to share my last episode once to Amy Alien Girl, and boom, oh, that's so cool. You're trying to promote my show, and it was blocked. Of course it was. That's always how it works. Yeah, so it's like this process to cut the stuff out. I'm just doing it automatically right now, but yeah, once it gets done, it should be available. Also, Tracy, I'm glad to see, will be demonstrating this weekend, exercising your right of having autonomy and an opinion. And I think that's great.
If
Fantastic.
you line the back of your protest poster, because I read your comment too, if you line the back of your protest poster with like a wire mesh, like has to be aluminum screening, like same thing from your window, that will block EMP shit. So like if they're using microwave weapons or crowd deterrent devices, as they like to be coined, that will block it. I don't know to how much, at least a noticeable amount. But good luck.
Which they did use on Jan
same.
6. They used a DW
Yep.
on Jan 6. Yeah, acoustic DW.
Saying that he thinks aliens have visited Earth and have been here many times. Let's release that, but let's also release the Epstein files, and let's just have a transparent administration. They haven't done that yet, and I think that's why we think this is more of a distraction than an actual attempt to be transparent about this issue.
Hello, my name is Derek Frangos. I'm a citizen in South Carolina. I'd like to receive a call back with information regarding the Jeffrey Epstein case. I'm shocked about his recent suicide. I'm sure everybody in the country is. I'm wondering what's taking so long to issue new indictments on the case. Seems to me as if there are individuals, some of them prominent, that have enough information and enough accusations against them to warrant indictments on this case, including
like
Bill Richardson, Bill Clinton, and lots of others. Not just Prince Andrew, lots of other individuals, including his madam, Mrs. Maxwell. I don't know where she is or why she hasn't been indicted or arrested yet. I'd like to know, and I'd like to speak with somebody on the matter. The public statements are inadequate and don't give enough information. It's a complicated case, as I'm sure you know. It's a large web of information out there. And I'd like to keep it away from conspiracy theory and keep it to the facts and hopefully seek justice for these horrific people.
How interesting that a gentleman calling in for more information from the FBI mentions the word conspiracy theory and referencing the Epstein files. And this, of course, you could, if you didn't catch it in the recording, this is before Maxwell was even arrested. And this gentleman saying, where the fuck is Maxwell? Why aren't there indictments? There's names in all these files. What's going on? Call me back. He says, call me back in that voicemail 3 times. I had to edit it out. So this was my plan to pivot from UFO news to Epstein news. But in the UFO news, Epstein has been dominating the conversation. And so this is just where it naturally leads us, right? And you had just in the last couple of days, Trump on Air Force One saying he feels bad for the crown of England because their boys got in trouble with Epstein. What? Mr. Everybody needs to pay their own dues in the UN. You feel bad for the crown because they have pedophiles as sons? Okay.
How crazy is that? They've found a way to weaponize our empathy now on that one, where it's like, oh, feel bad for the poor royal pedophiles. It's like, no, we will not. We will not. The original Lord Mountbatten, the one that Andy was under his wing, I'm going to put an allegedly asterisk because I don't even think the allegedly needs to be there, but I'm not trying to get a fucking lawsuit. But the original Mountbatten is in FBI files long before that of being suspected of the same crimes against children. So, yeah. Make of that what you will. And also give it a Google because I wouldn't even, maybe not Google. Maybe use a deeper searching fucking search engine that'll actually find it for you.
Because the same people that own YouTube own Google. BTW. So he feels bad for the crown. We've got Hillary Clinton deposition today. Her wonderful, loyal husband will be on the stand tomorrow giving his deposition. And then we've got Democrats, Schumer and others actually demanding now all the Epstein files from the Department of Justice. We have Schumer essentially calling Pam Bondi a criminal here. So some pretty wild updates. And this is just like a few weeks into the Epstein Files release. Folks, can you imagine like where we're going to be later?
I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing to see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon. And
this is not sarcasm,
king.
you guys.
So I think it's a very sad thing.
This is the same sarcasm as I wish her well. Wish Ghislaine well.
Right.
No, I think he fucking wished her well. I think you're sent her puppies
Yes.
this time around. He wished her so well. He was like, here, please fondle these
Shame for
children dogs
Yes.
now.
Fucking pound
vicious,
puppies, dude.
Vile people, dude. Well, they're filthy mutts is what the problem is. They're mixed bloods. They're not from 2,000-year-old blood lineages that deserve to be fondled in a ritualistic way, so it turns them into
Lord.
CEOs. No, these are the peasant
Right.
mutt dogs that should be
The peasants shouldn't matter.
fondled in a similar way, but sacrificed towards the end. I think.
Yes. As
I think she just
as
needed
we
young blood is what that was.
Yeah, as we covered in that last video about the look of the year competition, Trump's connection to that, and all these other sickos, their connections to that. And what got the video copyrighted was the stupid French interview of Karen Mulder. Like they're still regretting that that was in 2020 years later. They still don't want the Karen Mulder case getting out, y'all. They still don't want people talking about it.
VH1 has been having some hell of fucking time dealing with some backlash on the interviews they've had. They had that one with Epstein where it was I don't even know what you would call that because it wasn't an expose or anything.
I've
It was
seen
kind
it.
of like a cribs.
Was that with Bannon?
Oh, no. This is well before.
Okay, this is a
like
different
in
one?
Early
Okay.
2000s, talking to him about him
Okay.
being an eligible bachelor and that he likes
Oh, boy.
younger women, but they're not saying what kind of young women. You know, they're just like he's cheeky and naughty. Woo! The VH1 fucking nonsense. They never do a real investigation. They always throw that weird behind the scenes. shit
He's
in
just eccentric.
That's what they called him, the eccentric billionaire who fucking traffics. They didn't even mention any
The
of the
eccentric
crimes he had
pervert.
already got in trouble for. Like he had already gotten caught in Palm Beach well before this.
Wow. So this is speaking of the wonderful Prince Andrew. Here he is right there with a 17-year-old under his arms. But again, not guilty of anything.
the victims.
And Trump feels very bad for them.
Andrew Mountbatten
Oh,
Windsor
that lady
has to
Herbie
face,
fucking
any
like
consequences
I think it's
for his
Andrew's
actions.
ex has been still going around saying that this is AI, even though this
No.
passed FBI scrutiny. And how many different lawsuits did this have to be brought up in evidence for it to even make the newspaper when it did? Right.
That is
so
insane.
so this is not AI.
How could they think that that's AI?
over and over again? I don't know. And you could also see Jeffrey Epstein's what's it called, reflection in the window in the back. You know what I mean? Like because he's the one who's taking the picture.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, there's no way that's it. If that's
Like, if I
AI,
was hoaxing the moon, I wouldn't
that's
have thought of
fucking
that much
impressive.
detail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's some impressive fucking AI. Like, I don't think our AI right now could do a picture that well, to be honest with you. There'd be something weird about it.
Oh hell yeah! You know what? I'm gonna put that statement on the stage right now because I was dreaming about this in probably like maybe three different spaces that we've had. Oh, I can't even show
Mhm.
it. Just his ex knows about Epstein's baby, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, obviously, there
And,
was
2011,
involvement
by the
of
way, folks.
at least one or two babies there. So there's two ultrasounds. I don't know if it's better or worse to say if they're from different people or not. We'll just say there's two ultrasounds of a baby
Oh, and
within the
and
files.
I have two separate. But they're not Polaroids. They're old Kodak film that had to be processed at a store or whatever with pregnant women and with Epstein on his next to his pool. Right. So there, I found that, and then I also found many emails of women chewing him out, and I think one of those was Ghislaine because she was like, all you wanted me for was to introduce you to Prince Andrew, and now I find out you have a baby. I'm beyond heartbroken. Good luck. But this is the end of 2011, beginning of 2012. And what's funny is the name is redacted, but like, who the fuck introduced him to Prince Andrew? It was Ghislaine. Great detective work on that one.
Wow. So
and now also,
the email,
Ghislaine was completely outed as a trafficker. Why are any of her correspondence being redacted still?
Oh,
Because
her
it further
and this
implicates her
Masha.
in charges.
Yep, her and this Masha gal. And according to Epstein, I think the Alicia girl, this is the email that you saw Joe Rogan's head almost explode live on, on his podcast. Says, your friend Aliza, and this is from Jeffrey Epstein to Masha Drakova, the Russian, was the head of a Russian intelligence group over there, but now is just a financier in the Silicon Valley. So it says, your friend Aliza told me about the project she is doing, researching a really bad guy that gets children for sex sent to his island. She almost fainted when I told her that person is me.
Who the fuck does that and then gets enjoyment enough to send that to one of their associates?
These sickos.
Right? Like this is somebody who probably like got a boner at the time of breaking this girl's mind. Because like
you can read the emails where it's almost like he's grooming her for human trafficking. Right? She's like, oh my God, I couldn't believe this, but now I guess it's okay. I just wasn't
so it's not
used
not
to
as
it.
shocking. Right? This is him getting off on the fear that he's instilling. I've not seen that in too many other emails. Like this really points it out. And
I found a copy of the video with the audio. Have you seen this?
Oh, nice. Very cool. I think Red Panda might have posted it. It's like a
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
long.
there's a there's a version out
this
there.
Isn't that tunnel though. This is different tunnels.
Oh, the ones you posted today?
Yeah, that's different. So he has.
You should share that picture in here.
Probably.
Or actually, you know what? I can probably go to your X page and share it.
Heck yeah!
But it's very interesting. Yeah,
I got a bunch more. The problem is like because they're photographs, they didn't video the process of going through these things. In order to get to the tunnel, it's like 15 rooms sometimes that these people are entering through. Right. So it's also. I could think of at least 3 different entrances. 2 of them go past major power generators and things like that that sustain the island, right? Which is huge.
Yeah, because they have their own. They brag about that in one email where like they have their own power supply going to everywhere on the island, and
desalinators are all underground too. So then you have the maintenance corridors and tunneling for that, and then you have other tunnels that were walled off and cemented and painted over and all sorts of shit like that one. That's the special one where like you can see, I have a picture of inside there too, where they also blocked off the other side of the wall. So I don't know. I couldn't find any more where they continued to knock down the passageways. Cause like, if you look at the outer edge of the frame where they started knocking it off, you could see where they had cinder blocked that off.
Right. So this was, cause that's like rebar, right? Coming out of the cement there. Yeah. So this is on the island, and you're saying this was this was the FBI's handiwork?
Yeah, knocking that open. But like, see if you could zoom into the top corner of it.
Okay, 1 second.
Like it'd be the dead center of the photograph, but all the way at the top. Right? You see how there's like a square, like a kind of like a gray squarish outline.
I gotta get quicker on the controls. Okay, top right. Are we zoomed in enough?
Yeah, that's perfect. You see how there's like that faint thing right there?
Up here?
Yeah, like where the rebar and stuff has stopped being cut. You can see that there was an outline, and that's how they knew to break into there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that wall was fashion closed at some point.
Right. Absolutely. Wow, that's and that's on the island. That's not in New York City under his rich house. None of that.
Yep, on the island, and that one I believe is the giant. Like when Rusty Shackelford was flying the drones over, you had what looked like 8 really big garage doors that had like the shitty painted on columns.
Right.
It's in that. So actually, like that's through one of them, right? You go through one, and there's like a bulldozer and stuff, so like holds heavy maintenance equipment, and then there's another one where it's the same thing, like the same set of what looks like garage doors, and then all the way over to the end is a maintenance entrance, right? So you walk through that, and there's like tiled hallways that run through about 3 doorways, right? So you have what look like heavy metal security type doors, and then you go past that, and there is it looks like a fuse box, almost like a really big fuse box, and that opens to a hole about that size in the wall in that one as well. So when you pop in there, that's when you have a bunch of desalinator tanks and all sorts of shit. But these all run through the island, and they interconnect with each other in certain points, because he also, in some of the emails, he's designating some of these things as different types of tunnels. You know, like tunnels between certain portions of the houses.
I was gonna ask, like, do you think they were just service tunnels? Do you think there was some kind of nefarious use?
I think multiple different types, right? Like service tunnels, of course, but they denied it. Service tunnels. Remember, they said no tunnels. So when you find service tunnels, that's still a tunnel. And 2, he describes the other ones. You know, you don't have a. All right, so I'll give one card out. I'll post this later on. But wood tunnels. What benefit would a wood fucking tunnel have if it's
a
for
wood
service?
Tunnel?
Wood tunnel, yeah, wood lined tunnel. I mean, that sounds to me like a fancy rich white man's leather bound book tunnel.
This is the distance from Los Alamos National Laboratory to Zorro Ranch. Just 38 miles if you're taking a straight shot by helicopter or plane, which these rich bastards probably were. And he says in his interview with Bannon, that was for a purpose, that he wanted to snag these scientists. In your analyzing, I'm sure you've been going through hundreds, maybe even thousands of emails and different stuff you've been looking into. Do you think the main goal of, because he's always working an angle for himself, right? So do you think what he was doing here was all about his genetics thing he was wanting to do? Like a race of little baby Epsteins?
Well, yeah, a bit. I think he. All right, so this is where Epstein's genius, in my opinion, came in, right? His ability to do more than one illegal thing at a time, and him having a lack of conscience while doing so. So where he was doing the biological research, I think he was also doing what they claimed Bob was doing with the whole getting compromat with his Nevada brothel, you know? Like, I think he was doing something similar to that, you know, because I can't help but notice its proximity to certain things. It's also its desolation.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, you had, it wasn't like Bob where it was just military folks. He had the Clintons stayed at the
oh my
God, Dude Ranch on the thing that had movies filmed, right? Very similar to Spawn Ranch that was out in California. Right? So they had a bunch of movie set quality shit there. That was like, imagine Westworld minus the robots, but that's what Epstein was trying to build out there. And I don't know, maybe he did want to bring robots too, but I don't know.
I don't think he would mind if they were close enough to Ken.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe not. But
it's so terrible to say.
Well, I was thinking more metaphorically.
Just over these bastards.
Like,
yeah.
With the robot thing, right? Like just to think of a brainwashed individual. You know, that's essentially the same thing. You know, to then hunt.
You know,
for
I heard somebody
whatever
saying
like
that could be the cure for these sickos, is give them dolls that look like that. And that way they'll have the doll and they won't do anything to the real thing.
Like the AI shit, right? Like they were trying to use that as the reason why it should be legal for the AI crap. But Congress already shot that one down, which was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, because I would have to think that is promoting it in some way, shape, or form. Like, let's stop moving the line in the sand that we drew, right? Like, I get it, for some things it's needed. That's why we can change the laws in this country. That's the beauty of it. But we don't have to keep moving the sand. Like, some of it's getting out of control.
Shout out Kurt, because he kind of brought this up on a few different podcasts too, where it's like, this is intentional. This is all intentional. This has been going on since the whole racket of certain, I don't know, psychological and like that angle of where MK Ultra met, because that was the future of where this stuff came from, but it goes back way further. You know,
yeah, it's crazy hearing people's brains get blown about MK Ultra. Like,
but that's
did it get memory hold or what?
Antiquated. That's like the antiquated term too, you know, because it's been changed so many different times and disclosed in one way or another, you know, and then hidden within the disclosure of itself.
Okay, I gotta chew these stupid glucose things, so I'm gonna play this video while I do that.
Past few
decades, at least a portion of it.
He shows up in the files over and over again, and Virginia Giuffre has pointed to him as a perpetrator in some of these sex trafficking crimes of underage girls. And so for the president to come out and say that he feels bad for Andrew and not say anything about the victims is appalling, which is why I'm inviting her brother, Sky Roberts, and his wife to the State of the Union, because he should face them and look them in.
Oh. This is terrible. I know I'm chewing, but that picture.
Oh, so good. So good. So good. So good. Reptile man. Look at him. Just look at him. It's one red eye. You know, he's looking at you with his reptile fucking brain. That's the guy that sees the adrenochrome. He can taste
so
your
crazy.
adrenochrome with his fucking eyeball. Oh, Jesus. I'm trying to think of like a clever way to mix the two words, a cybernetic being and pedophile, but I can't.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt in the briefing room saying,
But
we're
my
moving
brain
on from this
won't
story.
let me
President
think
Trump
up that
saying,
hard.
we're tired of this story. The American people
That's probably a good thing.
are tired of this story. I'm curious what the family's reaction to you has been to those words that they're hearing from this administration.
Again, the president saying that he feels bad for some of the alleged perpetrators and saying nothing about the victims shows where his priorities are. His priorities are to cover up for perpetrators and his friends.
And both Clintons said that they have no personal knowledge of either Epstein's or Maxwell's criminal activities.
They had no idea, dude. None.
I totes believe them.
Yeah. They said
Totes
it.
my goats.
Maxwell
Full
told
on
Blanche
totes my goats.
that she never saw Bill Clinton or Trump doing anything inappropriate.
Well, what do you think they're going to sexually assault kids in front of you?
Not everyone can be Joe Biden, you know. I
Right.
think that was the most obvious thing I've ever seen was the smelling, right? Like,
oh God, that was
it
so
wasn't.
awkward.
It's not illegal to be smelling kids like that, I guess.
But it's
But
weird.
I don't even want to. If I had a kid, dude, I don't want to smell my own kid like that because, like, kids are fucking crazy. You don't know at any point in time they could have met poo.
Well, now hold on.
remember
I
my
will say,
childhood, dude. I remember
when-
there was like at the park there was poo all over. You know, my mom.
Yeah.
Do you think she was pulling that hole? Is it pudding or poo? Test? Nope.
there,
There's always
there,
hypothetically poo every time.
there is a smell on your baby's head if you have one.
That's
You're like,
different.
because
He
you
wasn't
hold it
doing
so
the
much.
babies. These were like
Thank
fully
you.
mobile
These
children.
were
These were
thank you.
kids that could interact with poop at any time.
That's the exact point I was going to make. If it was like little babies, okay, but these weren't little babies.
If it weren't for the familial tie that I had to my nephew, and in the emergency situations where I had to change said diaper, I wouldn't have come into the contact with a child in literal poo, ever.
Sure. Yeah, because that's the society we live in, right? Like, even if it's the furthest thing from your mind, you don't even want people to even think that, right? And then you have these guys who are actually doing this shit and almost bragging about it. I mean, dude, when we watched that video of the Look of the Year contest and Trump hosting all those girls on that yacht, I want to puke.
Yeah, but the yacht stuff kind of hits different now anyway, though, right?
Right, because they're out there in international waters and
yeah. Well, can I bring up my favorite mean girl?
Yes,
sweet
please
old
do.
Lindsay Lohan, folks. She met a couple sheiks, a couple fancy Middle Eastern boys out in them international waters. She hasn't been the same since. Okay, she has not been the same since.
That's the thing. Like, you're not going to hear them talking about this in the media. The family members and friends we have around us that don't look into this stuff, that keep their brains busy doing other things, they're shocked at some of this. Whereas you have this whole other part of society that, like, for years it's been, dude, what the fuck? And so
100% the Clintons and Arkansas, right? By the time Bill had his issues in the White House, there was already a small community of people that dealt with him in his community where he started that were like, oh, no, we know that this is not the worst this man could get up to. And the fact that he's like debating over a blowjob in front of Congress is a joke. But the rest of the country was like, oh, I can't believe that is what he's suspected of, the president. Meanwhile, he was doing way worse.
Yeah, it was just a technicality that Starr could get him on. And that's what he was trying to do, was just get him any way that he could. It's like when they busted Capone for the taxes, right? All the terrible shit he did. He gets life for taxes. Hopefully that happens to some of these fucking scumbags. Like, I don't care if we give them life because we found out they jaywalked one time. I don't care. Lock them up, throw away the fucking key. Fuck all these people. I've said it 100 times.
Especially if we got the evidence that it's way more than jaywalking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I was on that shit with because people were finally waking up to Hillary Clinton's bullshit. In 2016, they saw it with the emails and how she was like how she had done the bleaching. She didn't even hand it off to a professional. She did that shit herself. She asked in emails how to properly delete the stuff, and then she deleted it, and then was like, "Oh, I didn't know I couldn't do that."
Her own server.
That's why you were asking for the bleach bit software to do it with. But at that point I was like, oh, no, jaywalking, get this bitch in jail for life. Only because it was so obvious that she was trying to remove as much evidence as possible. Because all right, if we're 15, 20 years late on this and we caught her in 2016 deleting the bad things and doing the terrible shit, clearly she's done way worse before. She's just got rid of the evidence. And as a lawyer, right, this is also the other thing. She's held to a different, what's it called? Judges,
standard?
Lawyers. Yeah, they're held to a different standard than us, and it's not they
have the bar,
an elite standard. Yeah, they have to, because they know the law. They have to respect the law because they have to study for the bar and do all that shit.
Right.
So they could be charged with a heavier hand, which makes no sense when they're not charged with a heavier hand.
Very true. Very true. And we're about to watch Hillary Clinton say again, which apparently she had to say many times a day, that she essentially only knew Epstein in passing.
Did
and same with her husband.
Did anyone notice if she had one hand behind her back, with her fingers crossed? Because that's a dead giveaway. She's fucking lying. Or if her pants were smoking.
She probably was crossing her toes. That's what I think.
Or
because that way you can hide it.
The lizards have toes. Just crossing her claws, her little lizard
whatever
claws?
the equivalent of lizard toe. Yeah, claws. Yeah, she was crossing her claws.
She's
Actually,
crossed, folks.
She had tied her tail in a knot, which is the equivalent of crossing your fingers. So that's actually what happened.
After her interview with Blanche, a former Trump attorney, Maxwell, was transferred from a prison in Florida to a lower minimum security prison camp.
That our working group, Senate Democrats, will go review the unredacted files in the coming days. Pam Bondi should listen carefully.
This is what I love too, is that both sides are trying to own this issue, right? The Democrats working group, the Republicans committee on fucking bullshit, whatever. It's all just nonsense. Like now, these guys are just hoping they're not in these emails. And if they're not, they're talking a ton of shit. And if they are, they're probably being real quiet.
Now, Massey's
it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat.
He's the only one that can say it with his chest right now. Because every name that's a redaction in that fucking file drop is technically one of those Mario question mark mystery boxes over each one of these fuckers' head. Right? And we should treat it as a 99%. If you have a question mark, 99% guilt rate, because we need to cut the rot. What happens with cancer? It needs to be dealt with to where it doesn't grow the fuck back again. You don't leave half the tumor.
Right. Unless it's clear it was like the landscaper that never met him, just emailing him to collect his $50 paycheck a week or whatever. Like, other than that,
be redacted. That guy wouldn't have had the benefit of being redacted, even though he probably should have. If you think the worst of it, that he was just hurting a couple little kids as a billionaire, I was like, you're fucking nuts. Because he had a thing called Lolita Plain. He had international waters, and he had many compounds and properties that he can take people to and disappear them. The first
and he'd brag about it.
Well, yeah, the first thing that a poor guy, poor scum of the earth, would realize is no witnesses. Right? Gacy figured that one out after the first time. You know, how many others were caught recidivism? I don't even know. I guess the recidivism rate for that to then turn to a serial killer, because it's easier to get rid of the evidence than to transport them away and sell them. Like it was just if Epstein is as smart as everyone says he is, you're telling me he wouldn't have figured out the thing that all the other real big pieces of shit who weren't supposedly as smart as him and had as much money and means to get away with the stuff. Like, so murder for me was always on the table. The fact that he filmed all this stuff and the production of just the blackmail to then be resold, like remember what happened with P. Diddy, right? The second that he was arrested, USB drives went out, right? And this was all you want to see this rapper getting fucked by this one, you want to see that one getting fucked by that one. They were getting turned into memes, and people were sending Meek Mill's face while he was taking it up the shooter by somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, but that was turned into a fucking joke by these people who they were like, okay, before my blackmail gets turned into evidence against myself, I'm going to set it out there and taint the pool, taint the jury pool, taint the evidence pool, and also humiliate everybody involved. Right? So now any of those people, like, they could have easily did Meek Mill take the fucking stand and say, like, oh, this is what happened to me. No. He took a paycheck, he took the humiliation, and he ran the fuck away. Just like Epstein's. You know, you see how he talks to these women when they have his child in him. One was crying, like a heartbreaking one was a girl was talking about, I heard the baby screaming in the next room. I said I wanted an abortion. I want to see that the baby is not alive, or else I want my baby. You know, the cries still haunt me to this day. Right? And it was far enough along that it was crying. How does that get ignored by our
That's in
justice?
one of the statements or
email, dude. It's in an email of a girl crying to him, and then Jeffrey CC'd it to Leslie Groff and Richard Kahn and all these fucking people. Dude, he's a piece of shit, bro. You total piece of shit. Where like he gets off on telling people, "Hey, I'm the fucking boogeyman," while staring into their eyes, and then he's also the piece of shit that will fucking CC someone's breaking down mentally over an abortion that he calls.
Now, does that come from his years of intelligence training that he clearly had, or is he just a sick sociopath?
Well, any criminal worth their salt and being a criminal knows evidence is not good. You know, you don't keep your evidence around. Like,
but he's shooting.
I always bring this shit up, but that's what I'm saying.
Everyone.
Like, as a graffiti guy, as a dumb idiot graffiti guy, doing the most ballsy, dumbest thing, which is like tagging on shit in broad daylight and in public. You know, leaving my name there. Even I knew. Don't take pictures. You take pictures when they raid your house, because they 100% will. If they know where you are, they're going to raid your house. They take every computer, every photo album, everything from your house. And that's graffiti. That's the silliest crime, the dumbest crime. You know, like I tell people this, like aside from graffiti, the other dumbest thing back when it was illegal was selling weed, just because of how smelly it was. Right? Like you could smell it down the fucking block. You know, like cocaine doesn't have that problem.
You know what else was dumb? You know what else was dumb? The mail. I don't know if this was before your time, but the chain letters through the federal mail.
That was so funny though.
It's like you're committing federal crimes, like so crazy.
Oh man. And this is also the other thing. It's like pretty fucking obvious that it had to be one of your friends, because you didn't know 200 people back in the 80s and 70s when these were going around, right?
Right.
So it had to be one of your 15 friends that sent it to you.
So and it's also implicated everyone.
Exactly. Dude, everyone's looking at each other, especially when now you've got 10, because all 10 of your friends now fucking got them. So they're all trying to shuffle them off to each other.
I truly had no clue at the gravity of the fucking situation. And I have a daughter, you know?
Well, let me ask you this, right? This goes with everything in life. And it's because it took me a real long time to figure this out, right? If you're a chef for your job and on the weekend you go home and you're not in a restaurant, but your wife wants to go out and you go to eat, you know, the food comes out and it's kind of shoddy, but it's a good restaurant. You know, you've been there 100 times. You know, they know how to make the shit, right? So they come out and they tell you the same cock and bull story that your restaurant would tell the customers that were dissatisfied or whatever, so that they come back. You know, maybe you take some things off the bill or whatever. But you don't forget working in a kitchen. You don't forget the excuses. You don't forget this. You don't forget that. You know, like especially if you've been in the military, you know, military speak. Like I have family in law enforcement. I know law enforcement speak. I know when something is said, because you got to remember, murders and things. This has been happening since the beginning of time, right? Police aren't new either. Soldiers aren't new. None of these things are new. So the terminology that they're using isn't new either. It's all tried and true. It's in a fucking textbook to teach these guys how to investigate something. And number two, it's not like the press is new. They've been reporting on stories. The cops have been leaking things to the press in order to get shit solved for fucking decades. Every serial killer has had information leaked to the press so that they can leak it to the public, so it causes the suspect to fuck up in some sort of way. You know, throw him off his game. You know, just so they think that. Yeah, you got to cause a little chaos. The same thing with this, right? Like, you can't hear enough things that lead to like red flag city. And then go, oh, no. It's a coincidence. It's got to be a coincidence, especially when you have the amount of money these people had, the amount of influence, and now with the emails, we can see where each of those tentacles went. You know, you can follow them to then still be told by Bondi and them, like, no, it means nothing. Ignore it. Don't stare at the man behind the curtain. You know,
it's so frustrating, isn't it? It's just. It's so maddening. And so we're going to hear right here, these Democrats actually, I believe they call her a criminal, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines.
The truth will come out. The whole ugly truth about what she's doing to protect people in the files will come out. The whole world is going to know exactly what she knew, when she knew it, and what she did to cover it up. Today, we are demanding that Department of Justice and the FBI preserve records.
Just pause it 1 second, because I think maybe we found a legal loophole to get some of these fuckers with, right? That whole implicated in said murder, if there is such snuff films, right? Wouldn't that be the same to viewing CSAM that would be logged in as evidence if that evidence is never used in a case or to try a single fucking person? Like if the pertinent information is ignored and that's just used for entertainment value, which is what we're hearing from Bondi. If they have all these agents working on this and no actionable intelligence is being followed up on, doesn't that count as some sort of disgusting voyeurism where they're getting paid to use this shit as entertainment? Where like I don't know, am I wrong? Am I overreaching? Because if I were a lawyer, which I'm not, that's the angle I would try and take, at least for fucking 2 seconds in a courtroom with these people.
Yeah, well, that's probably why this whistleblower that's come out recently talking about the files that were redacted by the FBI, like not redacted, but yeah, like literally withheld on direction from higher up on the chain. I won't say whose name because I don't know. Like these people are very quick because they're politicians to say who gave the order. I don't know if it was Trump or just someone in his orbit. Like, I don't know, but it definitely came from higher up or they wouldn't have followed the instructions.
Or it's like built into the whole process, like the chain of command so that they have accountability removed.
Right. Absolutely. And so also in some cases for accountability's sake. So it just depends. But like in this case, we just don't know enough yet, but we know the FBI wouldn't have flagged those Trump files and set them aside unless it was someone that had the authority told them to do it. That's what we know. Like you can't argue that. We don't know who it is. And I'm not a big Schumer fan. But I like what the man's saying right here. We're going to fucking find out, right? Like, go ahead, try to shred it, try to hide it, try to do whatever. There's a fucking trail, in everything you do now, and we're going to find it. Do I trust him to follow through? I don't know. The man couldn't even get the UAP DA done, so I have no idea.
Fired behind the scenes. We want to know who was involved in the decision to hide the truth. And a warning to the Trump cronies working on this, we will know if you are destroying documents and evidence, you will not outrun the law. You will not outrun the truth.
With the Epstein files, the Trump administration had an opportunity to secure a win for survivors, for accountability, and for transparency. But after mishandling the files for a year, it took an act of Congress to force Pam Bondi and Kash Patel to even consider providing justice.
And that's something we should all be fucking furious about, right? I don't even care who you voted for. I don't even care if you voted for the other side. What other side, right? I don't care. But the fact that we were told these files are going to come out by this current president, and it took an act of Congress to get them to come out after he took office, that should say a lot, ladies and gentlemen. That should say a lot if you have a thinking brain.
Even after the passage of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the Trump administration decided to violate federal law to protect the rich and powerful. The law required DOJ to produce the files by December 19th. Yet the vast majority of those files were not produced until January 30th, 42 days later.
I also think it's important to note, I'm glad to see that we have our Republican colleagues here. As a big group of them, I wish they would have joined us at the Les Wexner deposition, but I'm glad that they're here now to get questions answered. That is an important part of our investigation.
How about Les Wexner's lawyer? If you answer another question with more than 5 words, I'm going to fucking kill you.
He looked like the way
said.
he giggled during that, like him saying that was like he was looking into a mirror.
Yeah.
Whilst also saying that, like, we'll both be dead if you fucking say too much, bozo.
Yes.
You know, because then
up.
he giggled like, oh yeah, okay, all right. You know, like he was a grandpa who was telling too many fucking tall tales. You know, grandma had to shut him the fuck up a little bit. You know, here, go have your nightcap, go to bed.
Dude, and there is some weird testimony in that. I mean, there's some stuff that is just strange, and you can tell is you're not getting the full story, not even close. Yeah, it's just crazy. Wexner, what a you know what I do take solace in is that I know even if they don't get justice here, at least in my opinion, they'll be burning in hell. So
yeah,
I can sleep a little bit better at night knowing
it's
that.
real
it's
hot
extremely
down.
hot.
Yep.
Me too, buddy.
Let me just add that as it relates to Secretary Clinton, who's here today, she has been very clear. She's never met Jeffrey Epstein. We have no evidence of her having any interactions with Mr. Epstein. And so I think that's important to note as we walk into.
Come on, she never met him. She herself has said she's met him.
Woo. Oh,
that's when
so
you
good.
know it's team over truth, right?
So
it's
good.
Team Blue. It's not Team Truth.
Now, folks,
Team America.
Remember, Clinton Foundation is just one. They also have the Clinton Global Initiative. What's the Clinton Global Initiative, you ask? Well, that's their tentacle that goes right into the beehole of the World Economic Forum. Okay, the Davos group goes into the Bilderberg, goes into all that, right? And they also co-advertised with Terramar and the Big Blue Marble or Big Blue project that they were working on. They all advertised, and the only scary part is like Clinton Global Initiative is still rocking. The WF just dropped their, I think the CEO just stepped down because of Epstein affiliations, but
the emails,
the Clinton Global Initiative is still going real strong. I think like 4 months ago they just posted a new video on their YouTube.
Oh yeah,
same YouTube that still has Terramar mentioned.
Let me ask this: does Bill Clinton age, ladies and gentlemen?
Like a cork in the sun, I think. Have you seen him at the congressional thing?
No, I haven't seen him super recently, but it seemed like he got bad and then got better. And is he declining again?
He looked awful when they brought him out with Obama and.
Oh boy!
What was it? It was when they were trying to. They almost ran Biden the second time. And then they were like, no, come on out. This is right before Kamala. It's right before the horse. No, stay there, Joe.
Just kidding.
Stay there, buddy. So when they did that, then that was right around that time. But he looked like an old shoe that had been sat in the sun for 60 years, like an old piece of leather that was beaten to hell, my friend. Oh, it was bad.
Oh man. Well,
those
good.
Big red pipe smoker noses you usually only see on like 17th century alchemists.
Yes.
And Merlin in Disney.
I imagine Clinton being extremely vain. And so that just makes me a little happy on the inside that he probably hates how he looks right now.
Make sure to throw that in the comments, like when you finish it, either in this one or the next one. That's so awesome, dude. Good to see you here, bro. Awesome. Always awesome to have you around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. We love Psionic the Edge. Created a couple songs for our show. Four songs. I say our show, my show. But I've been having you on so much recently because of this Epstein shit. It feels like our show. Like, it's just been nuts, dude. And I'm so glad you've been here to help. Because if you weren't, I think I'd probably just be cussing at these people watching the video most of the time. So yeah, dude, I'm so glad you're here for the ride, man.
Me too, brother.
I just hope that in 5-10 years, these fuckers are behind bars. I really do. I really do.
I don't plan on stopping this. of my
me
own
neither.
volition.
And that's, I mean, that's why I think it's smart to just keep at it for as long as it takes, because there is so much. And if you, this is what they were planning on. They were hoping they would dump so much, we would get lost in it and eventually quit. It's a strategy. And we're telling you folks, we're spending hours going through these things, hours and hours, because this is fucking crazy. Like, why didn't law enforcement do this? Or
exactly,
what was their motivation when they did it? Was their motivation the whole time just to cover this shit up? Like we've discussed earlier, is this one of those things that would ruin so many powerful people that the economy would crash?
I agree. Like, these are at least questions that need to be answered, you know, and if not by the people who are claiming to do the investigation, by the people. We need to ask ourselves this,
right?
Come to a conclusion, and then I see it through.
So this is, Clinton had the deposition today. This, believe it or not, it started as a UFO news show, but the only real UFO news recently, this last week, has been Obama and Trump, and everyone else, I think, pretty much sees through it, that it's complete bullshit, that they're trying to distract us from these files. So we are covering that because even the community we talk about during this show every week is talking about it. Like, that's how much this is disturbing people. And I don't like to think about people being disturbed, but I am glad to know that there's enough people out there that care to be disturbed.
Oh yeah. I also think that they fucked with the wrong community with this one. Right, like you enticed a bunch of like no shit conspiracy theorists that do the work. Like, okay, it's one thing to speculate, but we've been speculating about UFOs for fucking 30 goddamn years now. Well, at least myself, like I've been looking into UFOs for at least 30 years. You know, as a little fucking kid, I love the whole aspect, and to now be thrown things in my face that like are way more believable than the lies you told me about the fucking the UFO shit, and I don't believe those. You know, so like clearly you're fucking with the wrong people here when we do have the evidence right in front of us.
New files that were just discovered in the last couple days of a survivor that has made serious accusations and allegations against not just Jeffrey Epstein, but also against President Trump, and about abuse that she suffered when she was a minor. That clearly shows that the interviews and information around this survivor have been removed and are missing from the DOJ files. Where are these files? Who removed them? Those questions.
So they have record of those specific files being removed, but they don't have record of who did it. I don't understand that. How could you know when someone accesses a system but not know who it is that's accessing it?
Oh, all right. So they showed their own hand there, right? Because didn't the DOJ just get blasted for putting that little system that they allowed the Congress people into, because they all got their own little sign-ins, right? So every time the little 15-minute timer went up or whatever little timer went up, they had to swap out, and someone new came in with their own login, so they know exactly who saw the fucking file. You're telling me you couldn't have done that with like official government channels passing these files this entire time? No, you can. That's with the chain of command or chain of custody or whatever it is with the FBI. Like every fucking memo gets Xeroxed and copied in. And that's how it's been from the beginning of fucking time. That's why they were shredding so much since Epstein was even mentioned, that the fucking shredders at the FBI, CIA have been on, I guess, overdrive since then.
What the hell is wrong with us, man? My wife got me a t-shirt once that says, Idiocracy was a documentary.
Yeah. Was it Macho Camacho?
Yeah. So
guy's my
Macho
favorite,
Camacho, kind of like what we have right now feels like. I kind of felt like that State of the Union the other night was like that.
Less fireworks, though. You know, they could at least pump up the circus.
Stand up, Democrats! You won't stand up? You're not going to stand up?
Oh, I fucking love that movie, man. And I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I was like, this is too silly. This is way too silly.
But it's not.
And then after it wasn't until 5 minutes after the credits finished rolling that it all just sunk in. I was like, oh no, it's not too silly. It's too accurate. It's a documentary. Oh no, I've been rused by thinking it was a comedy this whole time.
Yes, it's insane. Insanely accurate.
So if I'm being honest, it was probably when it got to the Starbucks, the first mention of Starbucks. And it's like, I'm in for a latte. It's a happy ending.
Starbucks
for a
happy ending.
With a happy ending. It was like, yep. Nope. That's where it's real.
What we have is a survivor that we have verified, that others have verified, and those files are missing. It's not just those. It's an additional 50% of files that are missing. It is unconscionable. It is illegal. And Pam Bondi and the president need to answer to where those files are.
It is abundantly clear that this is the most egregious cover-up in American history.
I think it's so funny how the brain works. But every time I hear someone say egregious, for whatever reason, my brain snaps to,
it's just so egregious.
It's just a really underused word. Maybe we'll see more of it as these files are spreading.
Beer Fest did that with the word frustrating now. It's so frustrating.
Media outlets that have verified this, demonstrating that the Department of Justice, in addition to violating the law over and over again, as they refuse to release the full and unredacted files, have withheld 50 pages of allegations against President Trump. This cover-up needs to end immediately. If the most powerful people in the United States of America, the elite and rich and powerful men and women, are able to get away with these heinous crimes, then we are sending a horrible message to young people in this country that powerful people will always protect themselves and the rule of law does not apply to everyone.
Many things about Epstein. How did he accumulate so much wealth? How was he able to surround himself with some of the most powerful men in the world? Was he an asset for our government or any other government?
Well, I have just...
Now, if I had time, folks, I wanted to slow that picture down and zoom in so we could get a good look at how many people's heads bobbed up and down in agreement when he asked about Epstein being an intelligence asset for either the US or maybe even another country. And the reason I think that's important is because if most of the people on the inside that get to see all the classified stuff think that's the case, that's probably the case. He says, is he an asset? And you have 4 elected officials around him bob their head up and down. That means they definitely think that in Washington. So here's Hillary after her deposition today, which was a long deposition. So, hey, good for her for not looking 100% whooped after a day like this.
Just finished testifying. I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could, based on what I knew, and what I knew is what I said in my statement.
Answered the questions as best I could, as well as I knew? Is that what she just said? I have to hear that again.
I could, based on what I knew.
I answered them the best I could based on what I knew. She's definitely an attorney.
That's lawyerese for please, 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 please believe the shit I'm spouting. Please, please, pretty please. Oh, don't look at the nasty photos online. They're deep fakes. They're deep threats to my deep fakes.
Oh my God, dude. Do you think that's why Bill Clinton has allowed himself to age to try and get some pity?
If he ages like 400 years in the next 2 months alone, it'll be impossible to date the photos. They're like, we'll have to dissect him and count.
That's a great point.
At that point.
That's a great point. We it could be AI. We just don't know.
And what I knew is what I said in my statement this morning. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any
artificially intelligent anyway.
Connection or communication.
You think she had a chip installed or something a long time ago?
Oh, she's just not that intelligent, and the intelligence that is thrust upon her.
Well, she's a lot of things,
unwarranted.
But do you really think she's low IQ?
She's tricky. She's a tricky one,
right?
I'll say she's clever, but I don't know
Most
where the IQ
dumb people
is.
can't do that.
You know what I mean? Maybe, but they could also listen. A dumb person could convince you they believe their own bullshit pretty well.
That's very true.
That's a skill in its own.
As the great George Costanza once said, "If you believe it's true."
Oh, bringing the Oracle George into this one. Sweet Jason
Yeah.
Alexander, who I feel bad for that guy because clearly he is not George. Why everyone thinks he's George and typecast him as George. I think
because he was
well. That was too goddamn
right.
good for a character for him.
He was amazing. He carried that show. Let's be real.
And the
Because
funny part
Seinfeld
is-
couldn't act his way out of a paper bag.
Oh, dude, I love that. That's supposed to be Larry David. Like
Right.
the unlikable character is the fucking writer of the show. That's him. And then to
It's
watch
pretty good.
Curb Your Enthusiasm and him turn into George, and then you're like, nope, that's
Yeah.
fucking Larry. Now I watch Seinfeld and I think of Larry David every time I see George do anything.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. He's a hell of an actor, but yes, he almost did too good in that role. Where it's hard to see him as anything other than Costanza. Okay. So we're gonna finish this up here. This is Hillary after the deposition, y'all.
And with him, I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. We had a bit of a challenge
Casually, as an acquaintance.
in the beginning because we had agreed upon
Super
rules
cash.
Like her
based on
pantsuit,
the
super
fact it was
casual.
going to be a closed hearing at their demand. And one of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements. I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his home. I never went to his
Although
offices.
she ain't duping shit.
So it's on the record.
Dude, she's just like a fucking professional liar. I mean, I don't know how else to finesse that, but
It is. You can't call it anything else.
she's just an amazing liar.
We got fascism back. That's a shortened term. Now, I'm not talking about fascism in general, but it's a fascism watch.
Yes.
Very good point. She straight up stood up for a teacher that was on trial for fandangling a student. We'll use funny YouTube words, doing awful things to a 12-year-old student. Then what Hillary Clinton and her team decided to do was drag the victim through the mud during the trial, and afterwards bragged about it. Right during a press conference. Then she was removed from that law firm by the person who was like teaching her. Because she was too dastardly. She was too underhanded. She lied too much. She had too crooked of a spine for other lawyers. So she had already made a bad name for herself by that point.
Yeah. God, man. And it's like we talked about this on another episode, is that I get so upset because I was born, raised in Portland, Oregon, right? I'm not there now, but so I was in that education system and in that line of thinking, right? Like I was just raised that way. And so when the Clintons were president, anything negative you had to say about them was just because you were jealous because they were doing good or whatever, right? Like it's just all made up bullshit. And they clearly had every blue city brainwashed this way.
Like, they think of this, dude. They had the pass from SNL. Everyone gets roasted on SNL. You see how dirty they do everybody, especially
That's a great point.
Trump, right? But he got the pass. Dude, the worst that they did to him up until that trial was him jogging on his presidential campaign to McDonald's to eat shitty food and fast food. That was his, and
I remember that.
Fucking president.
I remember that.
You know, that's what we got as dirt on him. You know, he's the cool jazz pot smoking president. You know, he tried it in college and he did inhale.
Right. Right. Ooh, sick burn. He inhaled. If we only knew what was really happening, right? Folks, if you haven't checked it out, Flak and I did like a 4-hour episode or something on the whole Mena, Arkansas deal. I think it's listed under my live videos. Make sure and go check it out if you haven't done research on the Clintons, if you were raised in a blue city like I was and just didn't have a clue. It's pretty insane. It's pretty insane.
Numerous times. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate.
Good. Whoever asked the fucking UFO question, I'm gonna suggest you speak to my man Dan Freeman. He's got a ball to peen hammer. He'd like to ask you a few questions with. You fucking idiot. You had the chance to nail these people to the fucking wall with Epstein related shit and even Haiti.
Right.
Did you talk to this woman about Laura Silsby and Haiti before bringing up fucking UFOs?
Right.
Because now you're giving her the pass to bring in fucking Podesta outside of the scope of the actual investigation. But that's his whole bag to get him out of the mire was the fucking UFO shit in the first place. So whoever asked those questions were on her fucking side trying to like.
Absolutely. Obama, Clinton, Trump. They're all involved. They're all going to use this UFO thing to try to throw people off. Period. All three of them might not even believe the shit's real at all, but know that they can distract tons of people with it. Yesterday were today's tricksters. Crazy.
Yep.
No Republican member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed. And in fact, the Republican members didn't even show up for the deposition of Les Wexner.
Didn't even show up. But they're in line for for the Clintons. I mean, duh.
Oh, I'm going to tag you in. You might have actually seen it because this is nonpartisan. All right. I'd like to throw mud at anyone who calls himself a politician. I'm not a leftist or a rightist. From New York, I had very, very socialist leftist views growing up because I was fucking spoon-fed those things. Like, yes, giving money to charities for homelessness is a good idea rather than, giving it to the fucking homeless and solving the problem ourselves rather than just allotting tricksters to hand out the money because they never will. They'll actually use that money to worsen the problem so they'll still have their free fucking paycheck. We need to wake up to all of our beautiful empathy that keeps us, good, loving, caring people. Also keeps money out of our wallet and keeps us from handling things in a rational way when irrational topics come up. This is all a way to trigger us into a certain animalistic portion of our brain where it's the left-right dichotomy. Hegelianism.
Divide.
100%. Hegel pointed out that it's a way easier to make a decision if it's 50-50, two options rather than 15 options where they all have different outcomes. where we need the 15 option because that's the intelligent. You want to know every angle things are coming from. That's our militaristic standpoint, is knowing everything so we can make the one option out of 100 if necessary. You know, and I'm pretty sure they choose 15 options because they have the money and the manpower to choose 15 options out of the 100. But to think that we need to take something like, because true, this is nuanced. Hillary Clinton brought up a good fucking point. It's nuanced. It's on both sides. Yet fucking the Republicans didn't show up. That's fucked up. And Howard Lutnick, now there's more photos of him showing up at the island, not with his kids. So maybe this is another trip that he forgot to mention that he went on. You know, maybe this is another trip that the emails were deleted. Quick advertisement for somebody who probably wants nothing to do with us, or two things. But Webb, Ian Carroll's new, it's like an AI software that goes through all the emails. It kind of helps you in that way. That shit is great. There's also jmail.world, where that has all the deleted emails that the DOJ has continuously tried to delete. They have a ton of them.
Right.
So if anybody's looking to do any of the research we're doing, we're not special. We're just autistic enough to look at the minutia. If you want that minutia, go to Jmail, go to Web. There's a bunch more out there, but those are the two I use. So
it's so wild. It's just, yes, Jmail, the JWeb, JTube, all linked together, but definitely a more organized way, I feel like, than going through the files on the Department of Justice site, which I still do. But yes, it just seems much more modern, much more organized on those sites. So kudos to those guys.
Yeah, and Fascism Watch, I agree. But like, okay, so just a quick aside real quick, just because you brought nihilism. By the time I was like 21, and being into most of the conspiracies that I was into, and really looking at JFK with what was out there and what was speculated, and then like what was the other one, Tuskegee Airmen, that was like pretty well documented and known by the time I was already waking up to the bullshit. But I don't know how you can, like, and now I'm talking about the actual term for nihilism, which is just nothing. Yeah, things may connect, but at the end of the day, it's so corrupt. Why even fucking try? You know, like, I feel like that's kind of where this takes you to. It tries to remove your soul so that there's an empty place that it can be filled with malice, hate, all the other things that they benefit from us being in the mire with, right? So like, I don't blame people for becoming atheists or nihilists because of this. Like, and this is taking off the 764 shit. Fuck those guys. They've changed the actual term to now meaning accelerationism, where a nihilist in the original term 1600s, when it was first used, was meant to talk about a group of people that were so feckless. They like, it would be the basement dwellers that don't get off their couch, don't do this, don't do that, because they can't bring themselves to try and change what they know will never change, right? I don't know how we move past our government being where it is right now, because politically I'm a nihilist now. I don't think that we can vote our way out of the problem that the politicians have painted us into, especially with the Epstein fucking compromat that's out there. Like, just about everyone's dirty, and now not only the conspiracy theorists can see it, but like, we've got evidence for it. So, like, I don't know how Hillary can sit there and say that. Well, I do know how, because she's a fucking bold-faced liar. But
it's insane.
But to try and still do the whole it's only Republicans now, or it's only Democrats. We've already figured out here's dirty people on fucking both sides. So I think like the dirtiest ones are probably the fucking Hillarys and the Trumps, who are like, oh no, it's look, all the Democrats are saying this, or no, look, it's all, hell, it was fucking only Democrats in 2014 when we were looking at the Podesta shit. You know, that was like that fucking group, and that was excluding Epstein because not too many people knew about him. So like I said, DNC, the Democratic National Convention, that was the group that was behind all the WikiLeaks shit that was dropped.
And he still got that fucking deal in Florida after this testimony. And if you listen to this testimony and what he says Epstein was doing, it's pretty fucking wild that he still got that deal.
Well, all right. So we watched.
And so,
just
yeah,
before
like
we get into this, like we watched.
He had to be connected. Didn't someone tell the DA that Epstein was a connected intelligence person?
Yeah, Costa. Somebody told Acosta to back the fuck off, and I think that was Barr. Either Barr or that was might have been Alan Dershowitz, who was hinting at intelligence. But I mean, even Dershowitz recently came out and said if Epstein would have openly come out and said he was Mossad, he could have got him off. He could have got him sent to Israel with no extradition. But Epstein, like this is where it gets real weird for me. Is like Epstein was so confident in him just doing another couple of months and getting the fuck out of there that he told Dershowitz, "Nah, I'm good. I'm flying back." He chose the day he was flying back and turned himself in essentially. Like he let it be known that he was coming back into the United States because I think he was in Paris or he was in another country. Oh, but the whole point of why I stopped you was now since the files came out, we saw about like five different agencies all looking up information on him and keeping tabs on him for 6+ years. And that's like DEA and all that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Food and Drug Administration was looking into this fucking guy, yet nobody handed each other anything.
So I put this up earlier. This is a rundown of what we're hearing. I believe a rundown of the case of what we're hearing. The whistleblower that's gained a lot of traction talk about now, which is the fact that they were assaulted by the president when they were a minor. So if it's so here's the thing, like there's a bunch of voicemails on there that are from like crazy people, right? Bullshit is bullshit. They left that in there. So if this was all bullshit, why did they take it out?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much weird shit in there. And all right, so another cool thing you can look at if you just go timeline wise, right? Because you can look up on Gmail, you can set a time designation for what files you want to look at, and it's cool because it puts it in many different formats. You have just photos, you have just videos.
That's right, yeah.
All sorts of stuff, right? But the way the emails and the files work is it'll pop up like an email. So all the memos and stuff between the FBI, like interagency communications, all come up like emails. So you'll have memos of two agents talking to each other. And this is in 2021 going, hey, did you run this lead down? I'm still trying to figure this one out. And then they talk about the conspiracies. They'll go, did you run up any of those satanic cults that we were getting all that information about? And then someone makes a joke and then someone else goes, oh yeah, but that was true. You know, like some of the shit that they were looking up, like, oh yeah, that sounds insane, but yeah, no, we found some information on that. You know, like with the occultic shit on Epstein's Island, like they confirm that, yeah, that's really weird. The FBI confirms it's a weird fucking island.
Interesting. Speaking of those FBI files, I decided to pull this one up because I thought this one had some interesting information about Dershowitz. Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families while he was a law professor at Harvard. For example, Josh Kushner and Jared Kushner were both his students. Dershowitz told CHS, which is the source, that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun as an Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. The informant believed Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. CHS still continues to communicate occasionally for Dershowitz. Jeffrey Epstein was represented by Dershowitz. They remember Dershowitz tell Alex Acosta, attorney of Southern District of Florida at the time, that Epstein belonged to both U.S. and Allied intelligence services. They shared phone calls between Dershowitz and Epstein, during which they took notes. After these calls, Mossad would then call Dershowitz to debrief. Epstein was close to the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, and trained as a spy under him. Barak, criminal. Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the UAE are allied against Qatar, Turkey, Iran, and Syria. One of the sources who presumably worked, that part's redacted, asked the source a lot of questions about Epstein. They became convinced that Epstein was a co-opted Mossad agent. How I found this because I was researching Masha Drakova, the one that he had emailed that he buys kids and has them flown to the island. So it says Drakova is based in Silicon Valley. She has been running a firm called Day One Ventures, which is supposedly an early stage investment company. She used to be Russian President Vladimir Putin's main contact in the Russian youth movement. Drakova spoke, but Drakova did not talk at all about technology. Instead, she looked at the source and said, "You knew Epstein, didn't you?" She said Epstein was a wonderful man and that it was a crying shame what was being done to him. The source concluded Day One Ventures was in Silicon Valley to steal technology. So then it goes on further to say, well, that the Russian
I feel like that's
collusion.
Silicon Valley, though, right? Like, we can't ignore that it's like the Wild West. Especially in like around the 2010 time period. Even worse, I guess, in 2000s, like with the Facebook, MySpace, like everyone trying to steal each other.
Also a great show on HBO.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's where I've got my insider scoops from. Because everything that happens on that fucking show happens in a way less
like
comedic way without any. Yeah, dude. I saw that and I was like,
fucking
oh,
weird.
I know this. This is the watered down public version of adrenochrome. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh no, this is also what they have been saying that Mick Jagger and Keith Richards from the Stones have been doing.
Right.
Since
And
the
P.
60s.
Diddy started doing it.
Right. But it was just a conspiracy. Remember with the Stones? Because they were like, they've done way too many drugs. They should be dead. They're getting blood transfusions. And that was the craziest thing I've ever heard as a little kid. I was like probably 10 when I first heard that from a wacky uncle, to now I'm like, but that uncle was fucking dead, right?
Wow. This Fascism Watch says in Epstein's latest girlfriend, the dentist, looks pretty useful in the context of missing person cases from a forensic angle. Yeah, it definitely. I haven't gotten really into that yet, but I have heard a little bit of talk about
Miss
that.
Shuliak. She's a bit strange. Apparently, the day after the files dropped, or like pretty soon after the files dropped, on her social media, she sent out a post telling people to fuck off. Like she still has whatever insurance policy to keep her safe going. So I don't know who she was telling to fuck off, the public or whoever's really investigating it, which I think is the public.
So instead of summarizing it, I'm just going to, because I do think this is interesting, folks, because I could just say the conclusion of the theory, but I feel like you have to hear the build up to it. So in this FBI document, the source advised Chabad is doing everything they can to co-opt the Trump presidency. Chabad is basically state-sanctioned Judaism. It is used by Putin to keep tabs on all Russo-Jewish oligarchs. On the day Trump was elected president, Ivanka Trump and Jared were at the gravesite of Rabbi Shursim, who is the most powerful rabbi in the Chabad network. Jared didn't disclose his stake in the cadre because of its ties to the Russian state. The source believed this was the real Russian collusion story. Kushner has moved a lot of Russian investment money around. The FBI should investigate Kushner's family charities to find evidence of corruption and money laundering. Chabad routinely uses charities to launder money. So I thought that was interesting because they're saying that was the collusion story. But as usual, the media got it wrong.
Well, yeah. Plus, these guys are PR magicians, right? Like
right.
Al Seckel, who was working with Epstein from like 2010 to 2012, removing all of his stuff. And I found a bombshell too. I'm going to drop on Al Seckel, and it's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, all right. I don't know how shitty this guy is, but like, I don't know. If he is hidden away, stashed away in some base, kept safe, so we can still, I guess, drop bombs on these fucking people. Maybe, but I doubt it. But I don't know. That's something we can get into because I think Epstein has some questions about how Al Seckel met his fate, going off a cliff on a scooter. Had a very similar end to Mr. Segway.
Yes, that was
Maxwell's, Christine Maxwell's husband.
Yeah, that tends to happen to people that are very powerful, that are becoming inconvenient.
I think it was a Caradori. Was one of the investigators on was a Franklin cover-up. Back when this was still very, very relevant, but him and his son were on a plane with evidence on the way back that would have like put all these people away in jail. And he told that to I believe one of the other investigators that he was like on his way back home because he went to do an interview and see a baseball game. Did the interview, got the evidence, went to the baseball game, took a plane back, and then the plane exploded. Before any paramedics arrived, there were men in suits picking up paperwork on the fucking side of the wreckage before anybody was saved or anything. But everybody died in that plane crash.
What is going to be the law enforcement agency that enforces this law? Like, let's say we decide we're going to arrest these people, anyone involved in any way, shape, or form. What agency is going to enforce that?
I don't know if we have one. It's willing to do the job. We're watching the FBI. We're watching the DOJ. We're watching the Pam Bondi herself, who should be the spearhead for this stuff. Like she put herself in the position to be the spearhead, or at least she fucking accepted that position. Same thing with Bongino, and same thing with Cash. And now Bongino's out, and Cash is fucking turned tail. So
Cash is out there busy crashing hockey parties, apparently. So
dude, he's getting smeared off iced in the locker rooms.
Good Lord. How embarrassing, right?
Dude, take a knee, bro. Fucking smearing off ice it. Get it in you before you remember the Epstein files. Go ahead. You got a lot to drink up, sailor. You got a lot of open water to cover.
Oh, man. At least we know this. When it comes to these folks, talk is cheap. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us on another fantastic evening. Flak, as always, thanks for being here. And I'm ready to go again in the next couple of days. So you just let me know when you're ready, because I've been hitting this stuff so hard. There's so much more to go over. Fascism Watch, thanks for hanging out. Haven't had your comments before. We really appreciate them. We appreciate you and your insight. Tracy, as always, it's a pleasure. And the rest of y'all for hanging out. Thank you so much. If you hit the like or the subscribe, that helps the algo. It's harder for them to ban us. Maybe, we don't know. But we'll say that. All right, y'all. We'll see you. Flak, good evening, sir.
Good evening and goodbye.